And one of the interesting things in research or in graduating generally is like not answers versus uncertainty about the existence of an answer at all. So in a degree, in a bachelor's, you will be given assignments, right? And for sure you know there is an answer. You don't even think about arguing whether there is an answer or not. But in graduate studies, you will be spending like half of the time figuring out could there be an answer for a question. You will be working on something, on a project for about a year or even more than that without knowing there is no answer for that. Even figuring out that there is no answer, there could not be an answer for this question is a solution in research. But in undergraduate studies or in assignments that you usually have, there is an answer. So it's actually quite fun. I mean, like I had a class called algorithm analysis. So our professor used to say in the first class he said I'm giving one assignment per week, having 5 questions. Even that professor doesn't know whether there is an answer for all the 5 questions. So it sometimes is quite at risk. But it's fun in the sense like anyone can come up with any answer and argue that's the answer for that. Because even the professor doesn't know whether there is an answer at all. So it's up to you to figure out or convince like this is the way, this is the correct way, and this is the answer. And mostly we spend like hours, like tiring weekends, and then we get to know, okay, there is no answer, you can't solve that question. But still, the time that you spend and the effort that you put in that, it's like it's teaching a lot about that subject. Okay, assigned problem set to work with versus finding a suitable problem. So again, in undergraduate studies, at least up to the 3rd year, you all are given the project, a theme, at least a topic. This is sort of project that you should do. This is the question and find the answer for that. In graduate studies, okay, for an example, I did parallel computing in my first year. So we had a programming assignment, which like 15% of the final grade, and we had a final project. It's like 60% of the entire final grade. From that 60%, 40% comes. 40% gives to the solution that we pick for the problem that we pick. Is that relevant? Is it a suitable issue to be solved in a parallelized manner? The professor doesn't give, okay, this is the question you should do, this is the question you should do. Or at least he just giving guidance like pick any solution having attributes like this. So it's up to us to find the issue to be solved by us. So even doing a PhD, she might have better experience, she might later on explain. Like you will be spending so much time figuring out what should be done in your PhD. Even in my master's, I am at that stage. I haven't started my thesis yet, but I am now just figuring out. I'm looking for a project, at least figuring out few things for the past 2 months, but still I couldn't get to a suitable project yet. And I'm hoping I'll be doing that for at least another 6-7 weeks. So it's like it's quite different from graduate to, it's quite different from but the experience that you had in undergraduate to the graduate. And working in group. So mostly when we did the final year projects in here, we were told like in your final defenses, you should be the one that knows the greatest extent of what you are doing. So I did a mobile project, so it meant like I should be knowing it more than anyone else in the university. But even at the very last minute, we used to get help from different people like, hey, I was like, like calling everyone else, like, you know, like how it works in the last minute of final test. So it means like we still can get help, right? There are people who knows what we are doing, at least who have more experience. But in graduate studies, after a certain point, you are all alone. You are on your own. Even if you ask your professor, he might say, well, this could be due to this one, you can check. They are not giving, okay, try this one, this is the error. They will never give you such answer. It's up to you to figure out from where it is coming and what's the reason. So, it's all alone. And finally, you will get to know about all the unknown facts about the same professor who taught in the class. So, before coming here, so this is on the same topic. When we started our final year, Dr. Ruan, he was the director at that time. He gave us a small lecture how to do research. So at that time, when we hear the word research, it's a final year project that we all know. So it's a research project. So he told us a nice story. That's not a story, but he said, in a PhD program or in a graduate program, during the first year, your supervisor is your God. It's like whatever he says or she says, that's it. You believe whatever he says. And when you're starting off the second year, you start to think, oh well, he's not that competent that I thought. There are things that he doesn't know that I know. Maybe he doesn't come up with a solution faster than I do. Maybe he doesn't code fast enough that I can code better than him. Right? So you just argue within yourself the competency of your professor. And in the third year, you will see, even though your professor takes more time to code for a given solution, for a given question than you, the code that comes from him is more efficient, has more qualities than the code that you came up with. Even though he can't come up with a solution for a given problem, the solution that he gives is far more better than the solution that you have come up with. And during the fourth year and the fifth year, towards the end of it, it's like you are again in the same stage that you were in the final year. You believe like even though he or she doesn't come up with a solution as quick as you, it's because of the professor that you are here. It's because of the professor that the research has came through this path up to now. All the success of your research is behind his guidance and his motivation. So you don't get to know all this stuff when the professor is teaching you, right? He comes on time to the class and jot down a few things on the board and ask you to write a few things and leave it on time, and then you see it on the exam, or even might not. So that's all. But when you are doing research, he's just a peer. He treats you like a fellow, like you work side by side. You call him in the middle of night. I used to get emails from my professor like 2 a.m. in the morning saying, okay, can you look after this? And he expects me to finish it by morning before coming to this. So it's like best friends or whatever you want to name.